Senator Warren, you would be the oldest president ever inaugurated. I'd like you to weigh in as well.
I'd also be the youngest woman ever inaugurated.
Hey, we're here at NPR's headquarters. I'm Asma Khalid. I'm covering the 2020 campaign.
And I'm Danielle Kurtzleben. I'm also covering the 2020 campaign. And we're here to give you a few takeaways from the latest Democratic primary debate held at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles tonight.
That's right. And I think to me, one of the most fascinating things to have seen was the degree to which Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, actually did come under direct fire from a number of candidates on a whole bunch of issues. The first topic I want to hit on was experience.
I think this experience works. And I have not denigrated your experience as a local official. I have been one. I just think you should respect our experience when you look at how you evaluate someone who can get things done.
Thank you, Senator.
And this is something that, some of the candidates are really eager to hit him on, in part because he's been rising in a number of the early state polls, notably Iowa and New Hampshire.
Right. He also got hit on his fundraising. A few photos went around this week of a high dollar fundraiser he had, I believe, in California that took place in a wine cave. So if you hear wine cave being thrown around on social media this next week with regards to politics, you'll know why.
The mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave full of crystals and served $900 a bottle wine. Billionaires in wine caves should not pick the next president of the United States.
Mr. Mayor, your response.
And then, of course, that was an attack by Elizabeth Warren in particular, and he very much hit back, accusing her of also taking money from larger donors back in her last Senate campaign and then funneling that money into her presidential campaign.
And his point was that, we really can't be running these purity tests unless we can hold all of ourselves up to that high standard. He made the point that she has a larger net worth than him. He, of course, is also significantly younger than him. But I think the whole bigger, broader philosophical issue here was the degree to which some of these candidates see Pete Buttigieg as a direct threat, and the degree to which they're also willing to engage with him as opposed to one of the other leading candidates, former Vice President Joe Biden.
Right. We saw a really kind of a shouting match between former Vice President Biden and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders tonight over Medicare for All.
Hey, put your hand down for a second, Bernie, okay?
Just waving to you, Joe.
I know.
Saying hello.
I know.
Joe Biden really swung hard against Sanders on the cost of Medicare for All, how much it might cost to have the government give insurance to everybody free of premiums and copays.
Last thing to me that was interesting from tonight was the degree to which gender dynamics were on stage at many moments. I mean, I want to highlight the point at the end of this entire debate. The candidates were asked this question about, would they gift another candidate something in particular? Would they ask another candidate about forgiveness? To me, what was noticeable, A, none of these candidates actually answered the question correctly, but B, there was a moment where the two women running for office, both Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar as well as Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, made the point of acknowledging that they wanted to seek forgiveness.
I know that sometimes I get really worked up, and sometimes I get a little hot.
I can be blunt, but I am doing this because I think it is so important to pick the right candidate here.
Meanwhile, the men said they were out there plugging their books.
Exactly, and it was
a great counterpoint.
But Danielle, to me, what was interesting is that we heard so much in 2016 about gender because Hillary Clinton was the Democratic nominee, and this time around, because we had a number of women running on the Democratic side, I would say we just haven't heard as much or as frequently about gender.
Right, and gender came up in other big ways tonight as well. For example, there was something that former President Obama said recently that got a lot of press, which was that women make better leaders. So the moderators asked the candidates about this. And what was fascinating was that you had male candidates being asked about their gender, which is not a thing we've seen much happen before. It's fascinating. And you saw a heck of a line from Andrew Yang.
Our country is deeply misogynist, and most all of us know that.
That is a big statement. To me, it was actually stunning, and I think some of this is by virtue of having more than one woman on stage. Slowly, we are showing that women are not flukes; that women are becoming parts of these presidential discussions.
All right, well, that's a wrap for tonight. I'm sure we'll be back again pretty soon whenever there is the next debate. But for now, make sure to tune in to the latest episode of the NPR Politics Podcast. You can find that, of course, wherever you find any of your podcasts, and we'll be there to wrap up all of the latest debate coverage.